This is my review of Amiga Forever 10, which got released over the Christmas 2022 break. Before we get into the review, I want to clarify what the paid promotion in the corner means. I've kindly been given a free key by Calanto for me to personally use this software. I've not been told I need to make a video in exchange for this and what I say about the product. All that you hear is my own thoughts. Sitting down to make this video, I'm in a situation where I know that I'm very familiar with Amiga emulation and I've been using it for about 20 years now. This video has taken a bit longer to produce because I wanted to spend some more time looking at all that Amiga Forever can offer. There is going to be a wide range of you watching this, from beginners to long-time Amiga fans, and to try and help things out, I've created some avatars. Try and work out which one you are. Meet CoolSpot. They're totally new to the Amiga system. They've never owned one, but they know some friends that had one back in the day, or they've got that friend that raves about the Amiga so much that it's the best computer ever, and he wants to get in on the action and experience what the Amiga is about. They're looking for something quick and easy with no prior knowledge of how the Amiga works. Then there's Superfrog. They used to own an Amiga back in the day and they had some great memories of the system, but that was quite some time ago. They don't own an Amiga anymore, and if they did get one, it's a hassle to connect it up to a modern 4K TV these days. They have a family now and limited time and just want to hop on to the Amiga and play some old games that they remember. Next is Turrican. Turrican is really into his Amiga stuff. He's got a real Amiga hardware, he uses emulation for a long time, and he's got all the previous versions of Amiga Forever. They like tinkering with their setups and are curious about the new things that their Amiga system can do. They like to preserve their aging Amiga hardware, so they try not to use it that much, and hence why they like to use emulation. So the installation of Amiga Forever is pretty straightforward, and when you open up the program for the first time you get this nice setup wizard. You can choose the different views that you want and choose the themes. Now, for anybody that's used Amiga Forever before, this isn't anything new, and pretty much this is the same as the previous version. So in this example I'm just going to use the tiles option because that's the one that I prefer. But you've got an option of columns, so a detailed view or an arcade view, but in my mind the arcade view is just very bland and not that exciting, and that's why I stick with tiles. So next there's some integration stuff. So this is basically saying do you want to open these type of files with Amiga Forever, and these defaults are pretty good. Next is the shared keys system. So basically the Amiga keyboard was slightly different to a PC keyboard. So for CoolSpot you're going to probably be a little bit confused. It tries to explain it here what it means, but basically it's asking you to find the system left key, so that's the Windows key, and press and hold that. And then it asks you, okay, have you got a right Windows key? On my keyboard I've got a Dell keyboard, and that comes with a right Windows key as well, so I can press that. Or if you haven't, you just use the right control. And it doesn't really explain kind of why you're wanting to do this, and mainly the reason being is that there is two Amiga keys on the Amiga keyboard, and that's what we're emulating. Also as well, there's a help key, but I just press escape on this because it just defaults to the page down on the keyboard. But yeah, there used to be a help key on the Amiga. This could be polished up a little bit more and explained a little bit more for CoolSpot for the people that haven't used an Amiga before. Next there's some advanced preferences. So basically you can disable the drive sounds if you want. This is something that I personally do because it's a nice novelty to begin with, but actually the drive sounds can be a little bit irritating sometimes. It's personal preference really. If you do want that experience of hearing a hard drive clicking all the time and wearing away when a disk is being used, then yeah, go ahead and just untick that and enable the sounds. So really, for brand new users like CoolSpot, you might as well just leave these on the default. We can come back to these later and change these. So yeah, we can check for updates if we want. I'm not going to bother with that at the moment because I know I'm on the latest version. And there we go, we're done. That's the setup wizard. So for the likes of CoolSpot or new users, you're going to find that this is quite welcoming. You've basically got your games here, and double clicking on a game will open it. Nice and simple. This is handy also for Superfrog, who's in quite a hurry and just wants to get into a game, and it's just nice and simple really interface. It's the convenience of just playing an Amiga game without having to go into all the details of an Amiga system or really knowing how the Amiga works. You don't need to know that. It's literally just giving you a window to play Amiga games. So Token, you're probably wondering, is there anything that's actually changed in this interface? And really, on the face of it, not a lot really. You still got your systems, you've got your games, and you've got your playlists. Now onto the quality of the games. There are some good games in here, for example Pac-Mania, quite like that one, but there are some obvious big Amiga games that are missing on this. Now for the likes of CoolSpot that has never used the Amiga before, it's really good that we've got a selection of games that we can play, but honestly this is not the best selection of games that you could play on the Amiga, and it doesn't really show off the Amiga to its fullest. Now I know that there's probably some licensing restrictions regards this, but I think a little bit more effort could be put into Galanto, sort of trying to get those licenses and trying to get some better software in this selection. For the likes of Token that has used Amiga Forever, yeah, nothing has absolutely changed in this from the previous release, or for that matter quite a few years. This selection of software is quite dated now. I know it's retro, but the selection of this software hasn't evolved at all or changed, which is sad to see really. With each revision of Amiga Forever, I'd like to expect a little bit more with each release. Under File and New, one of the things that I've noticed is that there's new templates. So you can open up a template, and that basically gives you an Amiga 1200 system in the systems drawer, and you can start building up your own templates of how you want to build an Amiga. So for the likes of CoolSpot, who's a beginner to this is going to seem really confusing to you, because it's like, oh, what's an Amiga 1200? Oh, maybe I need the latest one, I need a 4000 PPC, and then that'll be my best Amiga. These Amigas all work in slightly different ways, and without that knowledge of how an Amiga works, you'd be forgiven thinking, oh, Amiga 500, I need to forget about that because that's a low number, and I want to try the best Amiga. Each Amiga system has its benefits. A lot of games for the Amiga will work great on an Amiga 500, and you'll find some games don't work on an Amiga 1200. Definitely a lot of games won't work on an Amiga 4000 PPC, which is a different architecture. So this isn't really explained too well for the beginner. For the likes of Superfrog, yes, you'll have an idea of, oh, I used to always want an Amiga 1200, so boom, there we go, we can make an Amiga 1200. So that is nice, and I think that's what it's geared for, is the likes of Superfrog, people that used to use the Amiga back in the day and always craved for maybe that Amiga 4000. And yeah, we can make one, boom, there we go, and we've got an Amiga 4000 all set up with Workbench ready for us. So that's one of the changes that I've noticed, but yeah, a lot of things haven't changed in the previous versions, and really it's a good system, but it hasn't really evolved with the times, and when you think that you purchase a brand new version of Amiga Forever 10, you'd like to think that something has substantially changed in this new revision, and I hate to say it, it really hasn't. So let's quickly go on to systems. We've looked at games, and under systems, now one thing that I'd like to see developed a little bit more is the introduction to the Amiga, because if you used Amiga back in the day, like Superfrog or Turrican, you know where you kind of are, and this interface doesn't seem too bad. You know that you'll probably want to load up Workbench 3.x and start having a play with all the software in here. So let's load that up, and you'll see the interface, and we'll wait for that to load. But if you're brand new to the Amiga, like CoolSpot is, this is going to be quite daunting for you, and it's not really explained at what Workbench is. I think maybe just some videos that are added into Amiga Forever, just showing you the basics of the Amiga, wouldn't go amiss really. Just developing something like that. Now, yes, there is a video section in the Amiga Forever, and if you do get the top pack, you get access to the DVD that has all these videos. But really, these videos are more of an archive of the past and a documentary videos really of the Amiga, showing the past. Now, yes, it will show some of the Amiga system and explain some things, but I think a video made today, just showing off the Amiga system as though somebody doesn't know what the Amiga is about, would be really useful. And it's a little plug for my YouTube video. If you are that person and you want to learn more about the Amiga, then yeah, definitely check out my channel, because I've got a ton of stuff on my website that will hopefully help you. So what is the point in these systems? Well, there was a whole side to the Amiga that wasn't just about games. There was creative programs that, you know, sort of like P-Paint, the famous clown picture. So P-Paint, you could draw artwork. You've got other tools like Final Writer, WordWorth. So there was a lot of productivity software on the Amiga, and at the end of the day, it was a computer, not just a games console. Really, where does this product fit? And I think really this is geared more towards the Superfrogs, the people that used to have an Amiga back in the day and they no longer do. This product is geared towards you basically, and this gives you a selection of games, definitely games that you probably wouldn't have played back in the day, and you'll be missing a whole load of favorites that you used to enjoy. So then that's forcing you to go out to the internet and try and find those games that you really enjoyed. But the key thing with Amiga Forever is that parts of the operating system are still copyrighted by them. So legally you have to have Kickstart ROMs purchased by Calanto, and this is where this product comes in place. For likes of Turrican, honestly, I can't recommend Amiga Forever 10 for you. There's literally no point in you purchasing this. Amiga Forever 9, I've got it running on Windows 11. I'm just showing you it here. So the previous version of Amiga Forever works absolutely fine in Windows 11, and I'm just showing you it running here at the moment on my laptop. Really, even with all the notes on how Amiga Forever 10 has been improved so much under the hood, honestly I think that it works absolutely fine Amiga Forever 9, and there's honestly, I can't recommend you upgrading. So this is my review of Amiga Forever 10. Whatever type of user you are, hopefully this video has helped you in making that decision of upgrading or purchasing this. If you want to learn more about the Amiga, then check out my channel, because I've got a ton of other videos all about the Amiga, and I hope you have a great day. See you everybody.